Welcome to Overwatch, and welcome to a video all about Amari. I have spent most of today now playing on the PTR and playing Ana, and I want to talk about the new patch and this new hero. I'm tempted to break this into two videos, but honestly, let's just get through it all at once right now. In the back, you should see some ranked gameplay I played earlier with Ana, and the one hero limit as well, which I'll get onto a little bit later. So far with my playtime on Ana, I've noticed a few things. One, I absolutely love this hero. She is incredibly fun to play when you start to get to grips with how she works. She is not a main healer, right? That's the first thing that I want to kind of dispel. If you try and solo heal with her, it's so unreliable and so difficult in a firefight to put healing on the target you want to heal that it's not going to work very well. As a secondary healer, however, she is absolutely superb. Her ability to CC people and control people with the sleeping dart is insanely strong. It's a really cool ability. I think some people underestimate it. The pros, very wisely, do not. I was watching their reactions as sort of footage and stuff of Ana started rolling out and people sort of got more and more interesting info out there about her. But definitely that sleeping dart is absolutely huge for the game and is going to make such a big difference in the long term, where you have this long range crowd control now, which didn't really exist before.
I'll be watching your back out there, Fariha.
Then I have nothing to worry about.
You had some short range ones, some medium range ones, like with Earth Shadow, for example, and with the Roadhog hook. But now you have a long range one, and it's a damage sensitive crowd control. So if you aren't familiar, it works a bit like Polymorph or like Sleep, where if you knock someone out, well, the moment they take damage, they're going to stand back up again. So knocking out a tank, for example, often results in them just getting right back up a moment later. But you can use it to interrupt channels and stuff like that, so it's really fun for doing that. So if you hear high noon, just boop and fire it away. It's got a slight arc to it and a bit of a projectile time, but it's honestly, it's so satisfying to just stop charges and stuff like that with it. Really cool ability. Her second ability is a healing and damaging grenade. It's probably the cornerstone of her kit. Like, it's the undersung hero. It's the workhorse of what you want to do with Amari. So what it will do is it will heal everyone in an aura, and you can probably hear my voice cracking a little bit. Jesus Christ, what is wrong with me? Anyway, he'll heal everyone in a small area, and it will deal a little bit of damage to every enemy that it comes into contact with as well. It's kind of a small explosion radius, but trust me, it gets the job done. The big thing that it does, however, is block healing. I have one memory earlier where I was basically just playing around with Ana, trying to get to grips with her abilities, and I fired up a bot game, and the bots all love to sort of clump together and then all run as one, and I threw the grenade into a Transcendence, and suddenly my brain just went because Transcendence now is, you can just deny it and just kill people inside it. It's insane how good that is. It's a really cool ability. Denying healing is huge. It lasts actually a fairly long time as well, but you've got to be a little bit careful with it because it is also your most reliable form of healing rather than trying to shoot people. And while we're on that topic, let's talk about shooting people with Ana. So the first thing you'll notice is she only has 6 shots. She can fire when unscoped, but when unscoped, basically her weapon has a projectile, and when you are scoped, it is hit scan. And that's actually a really big difference. I also think when you're scoped, it gives you a little bit more leeway with the projectile when you're trying to heal people. So when you're firing shots to heal people, you don't actually have to fully tag them. There is a bit of leniency there. When you're trying to do it unscoped, I've noticed it's actually a lot harder than you'd expect. You sort of miss a lot of shots very, very often when you're trying to do it like that. So definitely try and get into the habit of just scope up fire. There is a small delay when you do bring the scope up before you can shoot, so do keep that in mind. Let's talk numbers. Her weapon deals 75 damage. I think it also gives 75 health when it lands on a friendly target. The 75 damage is basically applied over 3 dot ticks. I think it's like 0.5 seconds per tick. It's actually pretty quick. It just goes tick, 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 and you'll deal 75 damage. It's pretty cool. It's honestly, she can't headshot, by the way. That's the big factor for her, so you can't actually deal that much sort of lethal damage very quickly, but you can be a constant annoyance, a constant threat, and honestly, like, that damage will soften targets up enough for other people to get finishing blows. Basically, it's really useful for Genjis, for example, because you just leave targets very vulnerable as long as you're constantly plinking away, and because it's a hit scan sniper rifle, it's honestly pretty damn easy to land those hits. Finally, Ana has her ultimate ability. It is the Nano Boost. It's insane how good that is. It basically increases all damage by 50%, reduces the damage you take by a considerable amount. I'm not sure on the exact number, but it's really damn hefty. And also you gain a massive movement speed buff. I've had this ultimate on me as Genji, and it's hilarious. I also gave it to an ulting Soldier 76 once, and he just tore the entire enemy team into little itty bitty bits. Trust me, it's a really, really damn good ability. It's insane how strong that is. My only issue with it right now is it charges very fast. Like, I think it charges a little bit too fast, to be honest, where you basically see every fight at a high level, basically turning into who fires off the Ana ult on what target and who gets the better result out of it. The only way you can reliably deal with the Ana ultimate as well is by using something like Earth Shatter, by using maybe Flashbang, but Flashbang's not really going to deal with it very well. You could try using Graviton Surge, or you can use Ana herself and just trank the target as it goes absolutely loco. I have had a blast playing Ana so far. She's definitely a character I think I'm going to pick up and try and learn in a big way, especially if in the ranked team I'm going to be the shot caller. I think I can do a good job of that from Ana Amari. Like, that could be super fun to be able to do that. This is a support that I am just super hyped to play. That said, like I said, she's not a solo healer. You cannot solo heal with her. She's just not reliable enough in my mind and doesn't provide just enough healing oomph outside of that grenade. But she brings enough utility to the team where I think just bringing her along instead of a second healer would be absolutely fine. Next up, before we get to major patch changes, let's talk about the ranked queue system change that's come in. They have implemented, on the PTR at least, a 1 hero limit for competitive mode only. That is a 1 hero limit for competitive mode only, and it's absolutely huge news because Blizzard have been wary of making this decision for a long time, and they've finally come around to it and finally sort of standardized it in the competitive scene. So what that means is you can't have two of the same hero, and honestly, I'm not sad to see that go. I do think there are some interesting things you can do by stacking two of certain heroes, but honestly, 90% of the games where I felt very frustrated or had a bad time doing it, it's been off the back of a stacked hero. I think balance is a lot more straightforward, it's a lot simpler, it's a lot easier when you have that 1 hero limit. I think that's just a lot easier to work with. It also helps on the PTR, by the way, that when you want to play Ana, but you don't want to have a team of 6 Anas, so going into rank mode on the PTR right now is actually very fun. Otherwise, let's have a look at the other changes in the game. First and foremost, let's just go over a big gameplay change. If the match goes into overtime for more than 20 seconds, the fuse will now start to burn down more quickly. Players also respawn more slowly during overtime. So honestly, this fixes a lot of issues that we were seeing where you'd have people just constantly being able to tap the point and keep it going for a really long time. Overtime just became this big frustrating thing, especially on some of the King of the Hill maps and some of the assault maps, especially, were just being a massive pain with overtime. So I'm really glad to see that change coming in. It'll just stop it dragging out for far longer than it needed to. Another change that I know a lot of pros are very happy about is we can now implement numbers in the option screen for any sort of number-based options. So stuff like mouse sensitivity, for example, you can now put numbers in, and you can put numbers in up to 2 decimal places, which is really nice because it gives you a lot of control over your crosshair speed. Lovely, finally. That one took way too long to get in Blizzard. Next up, a general sweeping change that will inform some of the changes coming down the line. Self-healing abilities will now charge ultimate abilities. As a result, some heroes' ultimate costs have been adjusted. What that means is if you are healing yourself, you are getting ultimate charge. There's one notable omission here which is very interesting, which I'll get onto in a moment. But the heroes that have been affected by this are Bastion, Lucio, and I believe Roadhog have all received nerfs, and Soldier 76 have all received nerfs. The one hero that hasn't received nerfs for self-healing is Reaper. And that's really weird. So Reaper actually receives about 4% ultimate charge per orb right now, which is pretty damn huge. It sort of helps him snowball a lot quicker. So I'm wondering if that one's not sort of an oversight or if that's meant to stay. Otherwise, let's have a quick look at D.Va, everyone's favourite Korean superstar. Defense Matrix got a major change. It's now operated on the right click. It has a 1-second cooldown, and you can just basically channel it for as long as you like. It works a bit like Pharah's jump jets and just how it operates, but it does have that little bit of a cooldown, so you do have to be careful. You can't just like keep flicking it on and off just to get as much time out of it as possible. You do actually have to sort of think about it and bring it up and then bring it back down, and it'll recharge over time as well. It's really cool. I like this ability. I like that change. It's one that I was kind of pushing for, and I think the 1-second cooldown eliminates a lot of the issues that I saw trying to do it in that system. It makes it really powerful for catching slow moving projectiles like Graviton Surge, like May's ultimate as well. You can definitely use it to do a good job of catching most of those. You can also use it to sort of, catch, say, like half a Pharah ult, and then Pharah turns away, and then you can just stop using it. Makes it a lot more useful. Honestly, I think that really helps their tankiness. Also, her self-destruct got buffed, it got decreased in cost by 15%, long overdue change. The explosion delay was reduced from 4 seconds to 3 seconds, and it will no longer kill D.Va. That makes D.Va really good for taking points now, by the way, because she can just stand on it now and not have to worry about hiding from the bomb. That's a really cool change. The D.Va bomb was just, it was good for forcing a reposition. I once saw a pro team try and use it so that, you know, they forced a reposition with the D.Va bomb and then fired a Hanzo ult where everyone ran and hid. I think this was on King's Row first point. So everyone ran sort of behind the hotel. Hanzo fired a dragon in there and tried to get a lot of kills. Unfortunately, they just found the sweet spot and didn't take any damage. And I think they had a Reinhardt anyway, so it didn't matter. And so yeah, it's one of those things where it needed the buff. It was long overdue for a buff. McCree got a pretty damn big buff. This is actually one that I've been pushing for as well for a little while. This is the Peacekeeper change. It now does full damage over a longer distance, but will deal less damage at an extreme range. Basically puts him on par at medium range with Soldier 76. This does have a problem with it, however, that I'll get to in a moment when I talk about the next hero, which honestly is actually, let's talk about that now. So Mercy has had some major changes. Mercy's damage amp has increased from 30% to 50%, so now she's back to as she was in beta. The effect will no longer stack with other Mercies. Okay, that makes sense, it shouldn't do that anyway. And Resurrect got majorly changed. It now costs 30% more ult. Honestly, I'm not sure that's enough, to be honest. And the movement, and you are no longer locked in place while firing the Resurrect, so Mercy should survive a little bit more when using it. Guardian Angel also instantly resets when you use Resurrect, so you can instantly sort of leap out of there. I believe that's how you read that. It isn't just it resets upon use of Guardian Angel, so you can just fly around infinitely. No, it just resets when you fire the res, so you can get out safely. Now, what I mentioned before, this bonus damage increase from 30 to 50% puts McCree at an interesting position, because now McCree can one-shot most of the cast at medium range with a headshot. That can be frustrating. That can be really frustrating. So that's something to keep an eye on. The combination of the McCree buff and the Mercy buff could be a bit much. By the way, Widowmaker can't body shot people. She isn't sort of, you know, the beta form that she was for a while, where she could do but she basically had an AWP, if you're familiar with Counter-Strike, where she was just one-shot body shotting people. She can only one-shot body shot Tracer and D.Va in her Zero suit. And not Zenyatta anymore, because Zenyatta has 50 more shields. It's actually really powerful now. He is also, he can fire out his Orb of Discord and Orb of Harmony a lot faster, so that's going to alleviate some of the frustration when people die while it's traveling, or, you know, you're trying to get the Orb of Discord on someone, you land a couple of hits and the Orb's still traveling. It felt really slow before. So now it's going to be a lot faster, a lot snappier, and that's very nice. Transcendence was also buffed, so now he basically has twice the movement speed, so he starts sprinting around when you have Transcendence up. It's actually quite hilarious. And the healing amount was actually increased from 200 to 300 health per second. And basically the reason they've stated for increasing that health per second is just that it was meant to outdo any form of sustained damage, but occasionally that could get overwhelmed. So, okay, fine. I don't think the Transcendence healing really needed a buff. I think Zenyatta just needed a buff in general. This 150 shields is huge because it makes him actually really difficult to kill because shields regenerate. And now stripping off 150 shields is honestly pretty difficult. It was interesting going for a Zenyatta as a Genji, landing a really solid combo, and then him just not dying, and me getting killed moments later. It's just like, whoa, he's actually good now. So hey, Zenyatta could be making a comeback. Other MISC changes, Soldier 76's rifle will now have its spread recovery come in after a short delay rather than instantly. That's just to stop an exploit that was found where you can macro rapid fire and basically have no recoil, and so that was horrendously unfair, and so that's gone at the moment. But yeah, overall this is a really cool patch. I really like Anna. I'm looking forward to playing her more. Enjoy the gameplay in the background. If there's any footage left over by the time I'm done rambling, that will be on the screen, so enjoy that because she's a blast to play. She's just very unique, very different, brings something a little bit special to the team. Thanks for watching to the end. I'm curious to know what you guys think about this patch. I think they've personally overbuffed a couple of things. I think Mercy does not need more damage amplification than she already has, for example, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that one reined in a little bit, but I'm curious to see how it's going to work out. Also surprised to see no symmetric changes in here. She does win a hell of a lot on defense though, so that could be part of why, but still I would like to see something a little more interesting than that 25 shields. Toodles.
I am taking the objective. Join me. Victory. Play of the match.
Heroes never die.
Tactical visor out.
Rocket barrage incoming.